How to avoid ending the year in poverty, a practical guide. How to avoid falling into poverty or bankruptcy this year. How many people can stand up and confidently say, "I am completely financially secure"? They must have enough money to sustain themselves for the next 2 years or more, even if their source of income is unexpectedly interrupted. These are difficult questions we must ask ourselves every day. If you're not sure of the answers to these questions, listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Bring a pen and paper too, because you'll need to take notes. If you find the video you watch useful, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and support us with a donation. Your help is precious to us and will allow us to continue producing quality content for you. You can do it here below, through the appropriate buttons, subscribe, and thanks. Here's where the tough questions come in. You need to be completely honest with yourself. You need to make an accurate list of all your income, long-term and short-term debts, and expenses. The first step towards financial freedom is financial literacy. Just as in business, you need to keep track of your numbers at all times, and you also need to know 100% of the money that comes in and goes out of your life. All you need is a dedicated finance notebook or a folder on your computer where you can store your data. Write down your real financial situation and be as honest as possible. Once you've done that, you can move on to the next phase. The next step is to find out where and what you spend money on. This involves tracking your expenses for the next 3 months. I know it can seem difficult and a bit boring. But once you get started and gain momentum, believe it or not, it all gets easier. The first few weeks will be a grind, but after a while, it will become part of your daily routine, and soon you won't be able to spend a single penny without writing it down. By keeping a spending log for 90 days, you'll have a clear picture of any unhealthy spending trends. Perhaps you're spending too much money on coffee or buying unnecessary shoes you don't need. Go through every item on your expense list and ask yourself if it's something you really need. For example, this year you may be able to skip buying a new cell phone or upgrading your TV, but you can't skip grocery shopping. Once you've evaluated everything on your list, make a new list of just the essentials and let that be your new spending guide. In fact, the only change you can make is to reduce your spending. The steps could be moving to a smaller home, skipping vacations, selling more expensive cars and replacing them with more economical ones, selling other depreciating assets like boats, if any, and unnecessary items. Another good idea is to apply Jay-Z's rule to money. If you can't afford it twice at once, you can't afford it. Instead of saving up to buy a $40,000 car, why not buy a $20,000 car and set the rest aside or invest it in more useful funds? Another valuable tip is to only choose products and items that increase in value. Don't buy the latest TV or a $3,000 outfit. Instead, save your money and consider investing it elsewhere, like in your retirement account. We know it's a cliché. We've probably heard it 5 million times, if not 10 million. But everyone needs a guide. Think of it as your personal GPS, and a vision board is that for you. A vision board is one of the most important steps you can take to improve your finances and well-being, and it should also help you stay on track. The vision board should highlight what you want to be in 2, 5 or 10 years. Be as realistic as possible, but don't underestimate your vision. If you want a $10 million house, put it there. If you want your dream car, put it there. If you want your dream life, put it there. It may not be possible in a year or two, but setting a 5-year or longer deadline would be realistic. Once you've created it, make sure to put it somewhere you'll see it often and where it will constantly remind you of your dream. After creating a vision board and spending guide and having a clear picture of your financial situation, you can start paying off your debts. There are 2 approaches to this method. One is to pay off debts starting with the ones that don't cost anything. The other is to pay off debts starting with the ones that do cost. It's up to you and you need to be self-aware. If you tend to need constant motivation, you should start with low-cost debts. If you're self-motivated and need to see something through once you've set your mind to it, you should start with a high debt. When deciding which debt to start paying off, you need to consider the loan amount and the interest rate. Large loans with high interest rates are expensive loans. Small loans with low interest rates are inexpensive loans. So the decision of which debt to start repaying depends on the person. But remember that debt isn't entirely negative. Debt is what determines your credit score. If you don't take on debt, you'll have a low credit score and may be prevented from taking on debt in the future because there's no benchmark to rate your credit score. The most important aspect of debt is how you manage money and what you spend it on. If you take out a loan to build a house, that's perfectly acceptable because the value of the house will increase and the interest rate will stabilize. In short, don't borrow money to spend on things that won't increase in value, and always keep track of your payments. Try to put at least 10% or even 20% of your income into a high-yielding savings account. It's important to start saving as soon as possible. As far as I know, saving is the best way to start building up a good cash reserve that can then be used for other high-yield investments. That's why one of the best things you can do for your household finances is to set up a direct debit system where the money is transferred to your savings account as soon as it hits your checking account. Saving is absolutely essential if you want financial security. However, the savings account must be interest-bearing. Look for an account with a high interest rate and make sure it earns more than the amount deposited. Think about how to increase your income stream. For example, by taking on another job, starting a new business, or doing household chores on the weekends. The goal is to find a way to supplement your current income. If you have no health issues or children to care for, you can afford to work less than 10 hours a day. Obviously, people in their 20s and 30s spend too much time doing trivial things. Ask any elderly person and you'll hear countless stories of how they wish they had worked harder and taken more risks when they were younger. That's why working hard and saving as much as possible is so important for living happily in difficult times. Once you have some savings and are able to control your spending, you can turn to professionals. This step isn't entirely necessary, but it can change the situation. You can get general financial advice from videos, books and magazines, but a finance professional can give you tailored advice to suit your needs. When looking for a financial advisor, check their references and credentials beforehand, preferably through LinkedIn or by speaking with previous clients. You should also consider asking for recommendations from friends and relatives and choosing one from your own city or region. Also, if you own property or assets, make sure they are insured. Without insurance, a fire or other accident can ruin your finances and leave you with a hefty debt. Plus, life insurance will pay your family in the event of your death or inability to continue working for any reason. Managing and growing money is a complex task. It requires discipline, routine and rigorous measures. To succeed, we need to stop looking at money the same way. Once we've achieved a stable financial position, we mustn't let silly mistakes discourage us. We need to make permanent changes in our lives. Prepare an emergency fund so you don't find yourself in the same situation again. Practice self-control every day and always look for new opportunities to increase your wealth. And always remember that financial well-being starts from the heart. Invest in your education. With greater knowledge, you'll be able to apply for better positions and achieve better results in business. With improved skills, it will also be harder for employers to fire you. Check with the HR department to see if the organization offers a training allowance. The company may be willing to pay for you to upgrade your qualifications. Otherwise, set aside money to learn new skills or take professional courses. Attend seminars and networking events to expand your contact network. There's a reason it's said that networking is your net worth. If you do all these things, in a year or two you won't be in the same position. Following these simple rules has helped many people change their financial situation and become financially stable. Try it out and share your story in the comments if it works for you. Leave a comment, even just a simple like would be perfect, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel to stay informed about upcoming releases.